All right, guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video. As you guys can see from the title, thumbnail, and all that goodness, we got our Spider-Man Brand New Day review. Not much of a breakdown because the movie's brand new, so we're not gonna spoil too much. We'll try to give a review and then maybe a little bit of a breakdown, but overall, we'll try to stay away from big stuff. But before we get into it, we'll kind of give our scores, kind of give our reasons why, what we liked, didn't like, and then go from there. Athen, what would you give it a score out of 10?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Sorry, 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, the main reason is I just can't find anything I don't like about it. It's a fun movie start to finish. There's a few things that are here and there. Oh, this is weird, but overall it's just a really fun experience.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I was thinking like 7.5 to 8 out of 10, somewhere in there. It's a fun movie. There's some problems I have with it overall, but I gotta say I just love the overall feeling of Spider-Man we get. This does feel like a brand new day for Spider-Man, a brand new take on the Spider-Man. One of the biggest things, caveats really that people have for Tom Holland Spider-Man is he hasn't really been able to stand on his own 2 feet yet in the MCU. He's always been upheld by the MCU supporting cast or even the previous Spider-Man. And this movie is really all him. And I gotta say, because of that, it does carry it a lot for me. Kind of giving it a review, I guess we'll start with negatives, then positives. The biggest thing I'll say is there's a certain plot thread, and I won't go into too much details, but if you guys have read it's a Spider-Man crossover event from the early 2000s by J. Michael Straczynski, and like what you've seen from the trailers, kind of like following the other story with like him getting new powers, that whole plot thread was great up until like the final act of the movie, and it felt very anticlimactic. It didn't necessarily not get an end. It just seemed like it wasn't fully recognized. And the only thing I could think is, okay, maybe that's something they're gonna continue to hit on later. Maybe it'll be a bigger plot point or bigger story point in the next Spider-Man, or I don't know, or the next Spider-Man installment. But like for what it was in this movie, it just seemed, I wouldn't say out of place, but definitely not handled to the best of their ability. And the reason it's such a big negative for me is it's very obvious, even from the trailers. This is a big plot point. It's not something just you can just forget about. It definitely is affecting the whole movie. So for its anticlimactic resolution, it just seemed out of place because everything else I thought was resolved pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, not to get into too many spoilers here, but I mean, there's quite a few times in the movie where I was like, oh, if this is a regular MCU Spider-Man since before this one, I feel like there would be a Tony Stark figure coming in and helping him out right now because he felt lost. And I mean, I knew that going into this that there was nobody that was gonna really help him from above. But even in the theater, I was sitting there like thinking someone was gonna come in through the door and, oh, you're having problems, let me help you out, and that just never happened. And it was really cool to see him fight his own problems. Um, in the trailer, there's Punisher. Punisher is fun. He's awesome in this movie. In the trailer, there's a couple other things, but I'm serious when I say there's just not a lot that isn't great about it. Again, that the plot thread that Sammy is mentioning, it's definitely real. It definitely feels weird. It almost feels like this is a two-part movie, and the next part's coming out soon, and we're gonna get a conclusion to this end. It just feels really weird. But other than that part, which it's not a small part, it's a big part of the plot. It was just fun start to finish. I mean, the main plot points, there's a twist in it, and that part's cool too. There's nothing, it wasn't anything that's like crazy or groundbreaking or anything, but it's just a fun movie. It's Spider-Man, it's funny, it's great. It really feels like this grounded movie that everyone's been talking about they wanted out of MCU Spider-Man that is similar to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, some of my positives. I really like the first half of the movie with like the flavor of the week kind of ideal of Spider-Man, what he's been going over the last couple years. I just like this kind of tonal shift of like every little thing needs to be explained. Every little character, every little super villain or superhero, every little relationship. Like it feels like MCU for the last 15 years has tried to figure out a way to explain all of these little things, make it more lived in. And not that that's not the case for this movie, but it feels like they are less worried about that, especially with like all the villains and all the different relationships that Peter has now grown into. It's like it just gives it to you, right? And it doesn't necessarily give it to you too much too fast that you're just drowning in all this new stuff. But he does a really good job of pacing it and just showing you like this is what he's been doing, this is what he's been going through. And it doesn't feel the need to explain every little thing. I feel like that's been one of the biggest problems with Disney Plus and the shows is like every little character gets their own standalone episode to show you like who this side character is. Like that's just not important. Especially in a Spider-Man movie. We just want to see Spider-Man, right? We want to see some cool Spider-Man fight scenes. We want to see some cool Spider-Man quips. We want to see some fun Peter Parker, just like that's what we want here to see. And it does a really good job of that. I love the newfound relationship he has with the different New York characters, whether it's NYPD characters or the Punisher or whatever, all of it I really, really like. And this is, I'll say, the biggest spoiler. So if you don't want a spoiler, hop off real quick. But I love the Jean Grey, right? Jean Grey being in this movie, it's not something that I think is a spoiler because I think it's been something we've been preaching at the top of the mountain. At least I have. That's who Sadie Sink is. I don't understand why people have been denying that for the last year. That's not who that character is. It is, and the way she's revealed, the way her character is played, I think Sadie Sink does an excellent job acting. But just the character itself is very interesting, and I love the way they show her telepathy in this movie because it's always one of those things when they show a new power. It's like, how is the MCU going to put their spin on it, right? Because we've never really seen telepathy in the MCU. We've kind of seen like some mind control things with like Wanda, but very very subtly. This was a very, I thought, interesting way to show telepathy, and then eventually some telekinesis too. But overall, I love that. The damage control, everything for the most part of this movie is really well. I think Destin Daniel Cretton does a really great job of throwing a lot of different ideas into the bucket and blending it all together and putting out a cake. Almost every single thing that he put in this movie, I think, turned out and was resolved very well, except for the one thing I mentioned with the other plot line or Spider-Man's like new powers or whatever. Like that was the only thing I was like, that wasn't resolved really well, but everything else I thought was. And I think, I don't know if Daniel or Cretton or whatever is going to continue directing the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, but it is definitely a tonal shift from what we're used to with Tom Holland. And I really, really like that. That's just a new perspective. And he's definitely growing into his own, and I love that. One of my least favorite things about Spider-Man and Spider-Man comics is that there's always this status quo he has to return to. He can't ever find a girlfriend or stay married or find love. He has to be single. He can't hold a job down. He always has to be broke and searching for a job. Like there's always these things that he just can't seem to grow out of. And not necessarily like any of that stuff really happened in this movie, but we do see some personal growth with Petey in this. And I love that. And I just hope we can continue down that road with Spider-Man. Part of the reason Michael Straczynski's Spider-Man run is my favorite is because we see a lot of personal growth with him. And I see a lot of flavors with that in this movie. So, like I said, 8 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed this movie. There's not too many spoilers I want to get into. I mentioned the big one. But like everything else, I really, really like. John Bernthal's portrayal is fantastic. Mark Ruffalo and the Hulk returning. I'm not going to get too much in that, but I'm just glad to see the Hulk in this and not a She-Hulk performance. I'm talking like Age of Ultron performance. I really, really enjoyed that as well. All the side villains that we see, Tombstone, Tarantula, Scorpion, Ramrod, all of these different little, characters from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. Loved all of it. The core cast with Ned, MJ, all those characters, loved it. It's a really good cast, and I really enjoyed this movie. Any other words, Afton?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed it, and it feels, I'll give one more thing. It feels like the MCU couldn't have come out with this movie if it was uh, 8 years ago. Like the time that Spider-Man: Homecoming came out, I don't think they could have come up with this kind of movie for like the reason Sammy was saying, with they have to explain every little thing. Because if they ever did this flavor of the week thing back when they did that, I feel like they'd have to be like, oh, and this is how this character did this is how this character did that, and there's some scenes with the Punisher, and you don't know exactly how this connected to that, but it doesn't matter. You're watching a Spider-Man movie, and it's really refreshing, right? You don't have to get into the details and understand every little tiny, tiny thing and then point out, oh my gosh, they forgot. I don't know. It's refreshing. You're watching a Spider-Man movie. He's doing his own thing. He's not going crazy big level, and it's a fun, relaxing movie. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of pressure on you. I don't know. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I think it's kind of hard to say if it's definitely my favorite, but I definitely enjoyed it over the first two Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. No Way Home is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
This definitely is. I don't know if it's better, but it's up on that top tier echelon of Spider-Man movies. It's a great performance by Tom. He's brilliant in this movie. Sadie Sink, like I mentioned, all of the Zendaya, all the core cast of characters, great. And like I said, Destin Daniel Cretton's directing debut on Spider-Man. I hope he returns for some more Spider-Man projects because I loved what he did on this one. And yeah, like I said, it's a great movie. Definitely recommend it. If you're any sort of Spider-Man fan or you just like superhero movies, the MCU, any of that, this is definitely going to be a must-be. I will say, doesn't really connect as far as I see to Doomsday. So like if you're expecting like, oh, I need to see this before Doomsday, no, it doesn't really connect to that in any way. But it is a good Spider-Man movie. It's a good Marvel movie. So with all that being said, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. When you guys go and watch it, let us know what you guys thought of it down in the comments. If there's anything major that we're missing. But yeah, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.